Hello everyone, Angel here, back with another video. This one is gonna be about the Druid tanking in Wrath of the Lich King. So we're gonna go, we're actually gonna build the talents step by step, and we're gonna discuss the priorities. So first of all, the most important part is the threat. So we have two stats that are very important. We have the hit rating, especially the spell hit rating for taunts, and there is one other ability that is also affected by spell hit, which is Fairy Fire. And then we have the expertise, which reduces the chance to be dodged or parried by the bosses or by the mobs. And afterwards we have crit immunity, which is actually very easy for druids because we have a talent that we're gonna get into later. And then health and armor, and then the last one on our priority list is avoidance. So with that in mind, let's build the talent. So for each level, for each step in our talent tree, we only need 5 talents in order to move forward. So there's no point putting all the talents in, right? You should only put as little as possible and prioritize whichever are the most important. So one thing to mention with feral tanking is that your resource that you're using, the rage, as a main tank you shouldn't have rage issues, because the way you get rage is by either attacking something or being attacked by something, and we're gonna get into some talents that are affected by this and improve our rage generation. So then on the first row of the talent tree we have a rage talent, which we're gonna skip because the second one actually increases the attack power that we are reducing with one of our abilities, and that is the Demoralizing Roar. So as you can see in here, it says reducing, so decreasing the melee attack power by 411. So we're gonna max this out, and that's exactly 5 talents. And then we go to the next row. So here we will eventually put all of these in, but let's see what they are. We should prioritize the one in the middle. It increases the damage caused by Mangle and Maul by 20%. Mangle is one of our best abilities that we get as a feral druid, and then Maul is actually the ability that generates the most threat for a feral druid. The first talent in here is some AoE threat. It increases the damage of Swipe. So Swipe is this ability right here. It increases the damage done by that by 30%. We're gonna skip it for now because the last talent increases the armor contribution from cloth and nether. Well, cloth is pointless because we're not gonna use any, but increases the armor contribution from leather by 10%. Now on the third row we have Survival Instincts. It's a cooldown, it's a 3-minute cooldown that increases our maximum HP by 45%, which is huge. And then after the effect is over, so it lasts 20 seconds, after it is over then the health is lost. And then the last talent in here is increasing our critical strike chance. We're gonna take this not only for the threat but also for one other talent that we're gonna take in just a moment. So now we have to choose between the swipe threat and increasing the chance to dodge while in bear form. So we're gonna increase the threat first, but we're not gonna fill this talent in yet, because we're gonna look at the next row, and then we're gonna come back and fill it in later. So this one just reduces the cost of rage by 1. It's not worth it. In general, as I mentioned, as a main tank, energy, so rage reducing talents or rage increasing talents are not a priority. So the last talent in here increases our expertise by 5. So that's expertise, not expertise rating. So this is huge. So we're gonna fill this in, and this is gonna help us a lot with our threat generation, and it's gonna make us a lot less gear dependent, because we will only need 16 expertise from gear, yeah, which is exactly 132 expertise rating. So that's pretty easy to get. It's a couple of items with expertise, and that should be enough. Maybe 3, depending on which items they are. So then this one is another rage talent. It gives us the chance to get more rage when we score a critical, but again, we're not going to prioritize any of these rage talents. So this one in here, this is very important. It increases the melee attack power while in bear form by a lot. So we will max this, and this unlocks the next row as well. So from here, we're only gonna take the feral charge. This last talent only works while in cat form, and the first one reduces the stun cooldown and increases the duration. So this one is a very nice talent, but because most bosses are immune to stuns, we're not gonna focus on this at the moment. So now we have 4 more talents that we need to spend in order to get to the next level. We're gonna fill the threat for swipe, and now we need 2 more. So we're gonna put those 2 to increase our dodge in bear form. So we filled in these 2 rows now, and we're going forward. And here, this is the row with the best talents that feral gets. The last one increases all attributes by 6%. This includes stamina, which means that we're gonna get more HP, but the most important part is that it reduces the chance to be critically hit by 6%. So bosses cannot crit with spells, so no mobs actually are able to crit with spell attacks, only with melee attacks. So reducing the chance to be critically hit by 6% basically makes us immune to critical hits unless we're being attacked by other players. So this is huge. This basically replaces all the defense rating that we're gonna need from gear, so we don't need to get that cap of 5.6% with defense rating. Just having this talent lets us use almost any items and prioritize stamina and armor over everything else. Then in the middle, we have a talent that increases our stamina even further by 2% more for every point. So we're gonna put 2 in here. Now it gives us the next row. We're only gonna take the leader of the pack, which increases the critical chance for all the party and raid members. This is a very nice buff. We're not gonna take it for the buff itself, but for the other talents that we're gonna get later. The last one in here again only works in cat form, so we're gonna totally skip it. And we need 4 more talents to go to the next one. We're gonna fill this one in, and now we need just 1 more. The first talent in here increases our dodge and gives us some more rage when we dodge. So that's a pretty good talent. We're gonna put this one in. here we have a talent again that increases both our threat, because it increases our attack power by 6%, and most important, it reduces the damage that we take by 12%. This is huge. It stacks with armor, so basically we're just gonna take 12% less damage from everything constantly as long as we're in bear form, so that should be 100% of the time while we're tanking. Again, we have a talent that only works in cat form, and the last talent is situational. This talent we're gonna discuss later, because this can only be taken from one source, and it doesn't stack with other characters that will have that same debuff. So we need again 2 more to go to the next level. We're gonna fill this one in. Now we're gonna take Mangle. Mangle is a very nice ability. It does a lot of damage, and it also increases the damage that the target takes from bleeds. Now guess what? We actually have a lot of bleeds, and it also helps other classes like warriors or rogues or even hunters. Anyone that has a bleed effect will benefit from this. So normally this ability has a 6-second cooldown. For ferals there is a global cooldown of 1.5 seconds, so we could use this once, and then we'll have to use 3 different abilities. But the next talent actually reduces the cooldown of Mangle by 0.5 second. So if we fill this in, it's 1.5 seconds, which is exactly how much the cooldown for an ability is, which means that we will be able to use this more frequently, and it will increase our threat by a lot. Now again, we need 1 more talent to go forward. This one, this talent in here, increases the threat we generate while we use the Enrage ability, but the Enrage ability is pretty dangerous. It's an ability that gives us some rage, but it reduces the armor that we have. So this would decrease our survivability by a lot, and it will make us pretty squishy. So we're not gonna use this talent. So at the moment we're gonna put 1 in improved leader of the pack. This gives a small heal whenever someone critically hits, including ourselves, and it cannot occur more than once every 6 seconds. It is a pretty good heal. It's not that impactful, but it's something that it is beneficial nonetheless. Now the next one, the damage done by Maul. This is the only thing that we need from here. The other ones only work on cats, on cat form, on DBS, and we also have in here Primal Gore, which gives our bleeds, Reap from cat form and Lacerate, the ability to critically hit. This is huge, especially because we're gonna have very high crit chance, as all of our items will be agility items, we can only wear leather items. So we're gonna take that. And then Berserk. This is a cooldown that removes fear effects and also makes us immune to fear, and it also improves our Mangle by a lot because it can hit multiple targets. It can hit up to 3 targets, and this boosts our threat by huge amounts. So we're gonna come back to this later, but now we're gonna move to Restoration, because there are a few talents in here that we should take. The first one is Improved Mark of the Wild, which increases again all of our total attributes by 2%, and it buffs our Mark of the Wild and Gift of the Wild spells by a bit. Now the next one is useless. We're not gonna cast any of these spells ever. And then we have in here Furor, which gives us some rage when we switch to Bear. So this can be used before a pull to gain 10 rage, which is more than enough to start with a charge. Now, here we have Naturalist. The first part of the talent is useless, but the second part increases the physical damage that we deal in all forms by 10% when it's maxed. So this is huge, basically just 10% more threat. Very nice. And the last talent that we're gonna take here is Omen of Clarity. This is the only rage talent that we're gonna take, which basically when we damage with auto attacks, we have a chance of reducing the rage cost of our next ability by 100%. So basically it will be free. So it's well worth 1 talent point. Now we're gonna go back to Feral, and we have 8 talents left. So first we're gonna fill this in so that we heal for 4% of the total, the max HP. And now we're gonna talk about some of the situational talents that are available. So at this point, if you want the rage talents, you could get some points in ferocity to reduce the rage cost of Maul, Swipe and Mangle. I'm not gonna take that. Here we have a talent that increases, that gives us rage when we crit. Again, I'm not gonna take that. Now the situational talent that we have here, Infected Wounds, reduces the movement speed of the target by 50%. Bosses are immune to this, but the second part, and the attack speed by 20%. This is huge. This should always be on the boss. However, it doesn't stack with a debuff that almost all decays bring. So even if you actually take this, unless no decays are attacking your target, it will not work. So you could say that it is useless. We are gonna take it, however, and then we have 4 points left. So what we're gonna do now, we're gonna put this improvement for our stuns, not because bosses can actually be influenced by this, but because most bosses have either adds or summon mobs during the fight, and stunning them could actually be very useful at some point. So now we have 2 talents left. So again, feel free to put them whenever you want. I think I am gonna take this one with rage on critical hits, but again, feel free to put them either in the first one to reduce the rage cost. And the last talent that we're gonna talk about is King of the Jungle. If you are already doing Ice Crown Citadel, the set that you can get changes the enrage ability to not reduce armor anymore, but to actually reduce the damage you take. So if you are playing in more than 3.3 in past the 3.3.0 expansion where that set is available, this is a talent worth taking. And when you are raiding with 25 people, there will almost always be a decay in your group. So as long as any Death Knight is attacking your boss, you could remove Infected Wounds and replace it with King of the Jungle. But until that is true, and especially at low gear levels, having Infected Wounds is a very good idea. So this is the spec that we're gonna go with. Again, some of these are optional. Yeah, so we have 7 talents that we could move almost anywhere. You could get this rage talent, or you could maybe get the stun and then here and put some of the talents in here. You don't have to fill it in. Yeah, so I'm gonna go with this combo until we get to Wrath of the Lich King when 3.3.0 when Ice Crown is released, at which point I will replace Infected Wounds with King of the Jungle. So we're gonna learn these talents, and we can actually look at expertise and our dodge and crit chance and see how it improves, and also at our HP. We have almost 28,000 HP at the moment, and bam, we got 10 more expertise, about 10% more dodge chance, some 5% crit, and also almost 2000 more HP. So now gear priority, again we should aim for up to 17% spell hit chance. We already have a glyph in here, glyph of growling, which increases that by 8%, so we have 9% left. In order to get 9% spell hit chance, you would need 237 hit rating. I would recommend to go with at least 100, as close to 200 as possible, but not more than 237. With expertise, I would suggest to go with at least 132 expertise rating. Again, we get 10 from talents. I'm actually missing in here about 12 rating, which is pretty tiny. That's like 1 gem. That would bring me over the soft cap for expertise, and I wouldn't be dodged by bosses anymore. And then the next stat, you can totally skip defense rating. There are some items that have it and you cannot replace it with anything else. Yeah, so this necklace, for example, it has the defense and dodge, but other items like these rings, if you can see, they have armor instead of either defense or dodge rating, and those are a lot better than the necklace. Stamina is always a priority, as much as possible. When fully buffed, druids get 53% more HP from stamina. So we have lots of talents. We have 6% in Survival of the Fittest, 10% in Heart of the Wild. In Restoration we get 2% more from Improved Mark of the Wild. And there's also Blessing of Kings, a buff from Paladins that increases it by 10%, and Being in Bear form increases it by 25. So that means that instead of getting 10 HP from 1 stamina, you get more than 15. Yeah, it's 15.3. In Ice Crown Citadel, that is further buffed. You basically almost get double the HP because there's another increase of 30%. So that's huge. Out of all tanks, bears benefit the most from stamina. So if you look at this trinket, I think it gives us 111 stamina flat. This is huge. Basically this would be like 160, 170, so 1.7, so almost 2k HP, yeah, so 1600 or 1700 stamina, so this is huge. And if we go to defenses, we can see that our defense is pretty low. We only have 54 defense rating, but it doesn't matter because of the talent. We are immune to criticals, and Bears can only dodge. They don't have any parry, they don't have any block. So that further reduces the importance of defense rating, because normally it increases the dodge, block and parry chance, but we cannot parry or block, so it only gives us dodge chance. So it is extremely useless. Actually, agility is better than defense or dodge, because it gives us threat, it gives us a chance to dodge, but also a chance to crit, and armor as well. So again, priority is hit rating, expertise, and then health, armor, and only then the last one is avoiding, which is dodge and defense rating. So in glyphs, if you do have threat problems, you can use, let me just get the list with glyphs. So there is one that increases the damage done by mangle by 10%, and the glyph of maul is not that useful, it only hits additional target, so that's not that good, but mangle is a very nice one. Another option would be the berserk, because it increases the duration by 5 seconds. So while you use this, especially combined with mangle, because mangle will hit multiple targets, so this is the berserk, so it is a huge increase in threat and will make sure that you don't lose the boss for the rest of the fight, especially if you use it at the beginning, and it's extremely good when there are multiple targets. But after at some point you'll get to higher gear and you will not have threat issues, and that's when you should replace the threat glyphs with survival instincts, which increases the maximum health by 15% on top of the 45. And then we also have frenzied regeneration, which increases the healing you receive by 20%. So this again is very nice. So the small ones, Unburdened Rebirth is very good because it lets you resurrect someone mid-combat. This is especially good when you switch tanks or between phases when the boss doesn't do much and you don't actually have to tank. You can just use this if someone died and then switch back to bear. Then we have Challenging Roar, which reduces the cooldown of Challenging Roar by 30 seconds. So the cooldown is normally 3 minutes. With that one it will only be 2.5 minutes. So it's acceptable. You might use it more than once in a fight, maybe 2 or 3 times. And then the last one is Dash. This one is very optional. You can go with anything. If you want, you can use the Thorns, which instead of 10 minutes, what it normally lasts, it would last for an hour. But other than that, that would be it. Make sure to always face the boss, never stay with the back to you, boss or mobs. And thank you for watching, and have a nice day, and or a good night wherever you are.